y'all, and welcome to Cooking with the First Ladies. Even though February is actually National Sweet Potato Month, November is National Sweet Potato Awareness Month, which is different because its goal is to focus on informing people about the difference between sweet potatoes and yams. November also happens to be National Peanut Butter Lovers Month. So today we'll be talking a little bit about Lou Hoover and making her sweet potato casserole, and also learning a little bit about Rosalind Carter and making her recipe from the Carter Family Cookbook, Sweet Potatoes Stuffed with Peanut Butter. Of course, sweet potatoes are a Thanksgiving staple, and in fact, a 1947 Thanksgiving lunch menu shows that the Trumans ate candied sweet potatoes for the meal, for both lunch and dinner. So first I'm going to share the difference between sweet potatoes and yams, since that's the whole point of National Sweet Potato Awareness Month. Sweet potatoes, of course, have like an orange, fleshy skin and are very moist and sweet, and they're actually grown here in the United States. On the other hand, yams have brown skin, white flesh, and are described as dry and starchy, and they're actually shipped in from the Caribbean. Yams are usually best when boiled, and sweet potatoes are much more versatile in recipes due to their texture and their sweetness. One reason people have always gotten the two mixed up is sweet potato farmers in Louisiana in the 1930s started to call theirs yams, and the confusion just stuck. Now on to former First Lady Lou Hoover. According to most sources, she was underrated and is one of the lesser known First Ladies of the 20th century. Lou lived an amazing, extremely adventurous life, beginning long before her time at the White House. She attended school for geology and once said, quote, "I majored in geology in college, but have majored in Herbert Hoover ever since." After marrying Herbert, she lived in approximately 40 different countries, including China, where she learned to speak fluent Mandarin, and is to date the only First Lady to speak an Asian language. During her life, she also traveled to Burma, Siberia, Australia, Egypt, Japan, and all across Europe. In addition to being an accomplished hunter, she began to carry a gun after her experience in the Boxer Rebellion of 1900. She also pushed social norms of the time, such as wearing pants, and personally ending the use of calling cards. Lou was also the First Lady to do radio broadcasts, and was also the first to be photographed for Vogue magazine. She was very involved in the Girl Scouts and loved hiking, building fires, and sleeping under the stars. She was also very involved in civic activism and advocating for women. For her entire adult life, she assisted those in need, especially during World War I, where she advocated rationing by giving up meat one day, sugar the next, etc., which became known as hoovering. During the Great Depression, she set up an unprecedented organization helping those affected by the economy. After her death, Herbert found several checks that were sent to her to repay her for her charity, but she never cashed them because she was a silently gracious lady. Herbert Hoover described her as, quote, "a symbol of everything wholesome in American life," and was fascinated by her, quote, "whimsical mind, her blue eyes, and broad grinning smile." So now we're going to be making Lou's sweet potato casserole. Actually, the first recipe for this that called for marshmallows was published in 1917 by a marshmallow manufacturer. Marshmallows were actually very trendy, especially at the turn of the 20th century. And using marshmallows in the kitchen was encouraged to save time and energy by replacing whipped cream or meringues with the marshmallows. So for Lou Hoover's sweet potato casserole, you're going to need 6 sweet potatoes. You're also going to need a good chunk of mini marshmallows. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of butter, a dash of nutmeg, salt to taste, pepper to taste, half a cup of heavy cream, and a cup of ground walnuts. So after you boil your sweet potatoes, you're just going to add in the rest of your ingredients and mix that up. And then you'll put that in a buttered baking dish and bake that. And then towards the end, you'll pop it back out and put your marshmallows on top. So you'll bake this at 375 for about 10 minutes or until the potatoes start to heat thoroughly. So then once you've done that, then like I said, you remove that from the oven and put your mini marshmallows on top. And then you're just gonna brown that like you would a meringue. And what you'll get is a beautiful sweet potato casserole. So here's Lou Hoover's sweet potato casserole. So next, a little bit about former First Lady Rosalind Carter. Rosalind was an extremely involved First Lady, and the most of all this far into First Ladies of all time. She advocated for senior care, mental health, and especially children. Rosalind testified before Congress multiple times, the first for the Mental Health Systems Bill in 1979, and then again for the Age Discrimination Act. Rosalind and Jimmy Carter continue to advocate today, participating in Habitat for Humanity, as well as creating their nonprofit, the Carter Center, which promotes peace, human rights, and creates programs to help diminish stigmas against mental illness and help people get access to mental health care. She was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame in 2001, which was only awarded to 2 other First Ladies up until that time, Eleanor Roosevelt and Abigail Adams. Lastly, the Carters revived an inaugural tradition performed only by Thomas Jefferson by walking down Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House after the swearing-in ceremony at the Capitol. So now we're gonna make Rosalind's sweet potatoes stuffed with peanut butter, which is just so fitting for the Carter family being from a peanut farm. So for this recipe, I'll show you finished product, but I'm just making a single serving. But if you're making the full serving, you're gonna need 4 large size sweet potatoes, 2/3 cups of milk, 1/4 a cup of peanut butter, 1/4 a teaspoon of salt, and then pepper to taste, as well as 1/3 a cup chopped dry roasted peanuts. So for this recipe, what you're gonna do first is you're going to bake your sweet potato at 325 degrees. For me, it took about an hour. Then once it's baked, you're gonna cut it in half and remove the inside and mash that up and mix it with your other ingredients. Once you've mixed this up, and this might not be a little thick enough to actually show. I lost a little bit of my sweet potato skins in this process, but I will show you the finish. You're gonna mix that up, and it should be thicker than this. You're gonna take your remaining skin and fill it back up, and then top that with peanuts, and then just kind of bake it in the oven just for another 5 or 10 minutes just to warm it back up. So what you'll have is Rosalind Carter's sweet potatoes stuffed with peanut butter, which actually came from the Carter family cookbook. So again, we have Lou Hoover's sweet potato casserole and Rosalind Carter's stuffed with peanut butter. So these would be 2 super fun additions to Thanksgiving this year. So thanks y'all for watching, and make sure and follow the National First Ladies Library on all of their socials. And you can follow me for more on Instagram at Cooking with the First Ladies. So again, thanks so much, and let us know if you try any of these recipes.